Cards, probably 2 goals you conceded there that probably summed up a bit of your season, to be honest.
Yeah, most vulnerable parts of the game. Dying embers of each half, and you know the first one we've backed off, haven't we? We've lost it, we've backed off, and the lads, to be fair, it's gone in off the post. Dan couldn't do anything with it. And then the last one, in the last minutes, they've been throwing balls in the box all game, and we've handled every single one apart from that one. And like you just said, probably epitomises it all. Just the whole season in 2 goals.
I mean, you did well to make a game of it, given the team selection. I think some people might say you had 4 centre halves and 6 centre midfielders on in your starting lineup, and despite that, you did cause them some problems, but looked pretty resolute.
Yeah, I thought we did. I thought we frustrated them a lot. I thought when we shown a bit of confidence in their ability, we moved the ball really well in the first half, especially. You know, and like I say, frustrated them. We've obviously got a lot of players out, but you know the makeup of the side was, you know, Gilly. I thought Gilly for his first start was outstanding, but he's not a left midfielder. He's left-footed, but it doesn't mean he's a left-footer. I thought he was outstanding. Mike O'Neill, again, isn't a wide player. He played on the left last week, he played on the right this week. Jay Harris isn't a number 10, and Matty McDonald's not a striker, so, but, you know, we had what we had, and I felt the lads made a real fist of it.
Yeah, you mentioned Sam Gill there. It was his first start in the league, and he played the full 90 minutes. What has he got to do to show you that he can be part of the team next season?
Just more of that, more of the same. You know, I didn't even pull him, I didn't even tell him. He trained really well on Thursday night, and yeah, you know, picked the team, and he was in it, and he looked nervous, he looked a little bit tetchy. Tried to make a little bit light-heartedness out of it, just to settle him down a little bit. But to be fair, his first couple of touches done that, and I said that to him. You know, you just get on the ball, just play like we know you can. He would have played last week only for an injury, but yeah, he's come in and he's certainly shown what he's capable of. But it's about consistency and not one-off games, and you know, he's got to maintain his levels training-wise. He's got to maintain fitness, because he's had quite a few injuries for a young lad. But you know, we'll treat him right. We'll get him up to speed, and we'll get him fit, and hopefully he can show many more performances like that in a yellow shirt.
Obviously, Chairman's been in the press this week about various things. These last few games of the season, is the players playing almost to get a deal for next season still? Yeah,
I mean, that goes without saying. You know, you just said there, they're playing for the deal for next season. It doesn't matter where you're at, you're always playing for the deal next season, whether that be here, whether that be somewhere else, you're always playing, and that's one of the things that shouldn't change and shouldn't alter in terms of players' mindsets. You know, certainly we know what we've got here, we know we've got players capable. We just haven't been, well, we haven't won enough games, that's plainly obvious, but we haven't been consistent enough to give us the chance to win games, and sometimes, but I've said it before, levels are all about consistency. In the league below, in the MPL, as a club, as a side, we were always up there, we were always challenging the right end, and we were always consistent with our wins. In this division, you know, last season was obviously a great season, but from Christmas onwards probably wasn't as good as what the first half of it was, but that's, you know, that can happen. But still, to be as comfortable as we were last season under Mark was a great achievement. This season, I think the chairman coined the phrase second season syndrome. I think that's probably being evident as, you know, changes to the playing squad and that. But you know, one thing we've definitely got to be, we've got to be a lot more consistent, whatever level you're in, because that determines your levels. If you're inconsistent, you tend to be near the bottom of the league, and that's what we've been.
In some ways, you deserve a bit of credit for giving Brackley against today. I know they got the 3 points in the end, but they're going for the title, and I'm sure Scunthorpe and Kidderminster, it would have been quite easy for you to roll over and let Brackley have the 3 points today. So you must take a little bit of positive from that.
Yeah, well, I do, but I'd never say, you know, it wouldn't matter if we didn't have any points whatsoever, and you know, we'd never. I don't think there's makeup in the side to roll over. You know, as I said before, we've got some experienced players playing, like Clarkey, Jay, Bowen, real experienced players who've had strong careers higher up the pyramid, and even though, you know, that they are experienced, they would never surrender any game. You know, you see them in small-sided games in training, they get annoyed when their team loses. So, you know, and the young lads have to learn from that and pick up those, you know, those demands, not just of each other but of themselves as well. You know, the standards that those lads set.
You mentioned young lads there. Hamish Douglas got recalled this week. How proud were you to see him go and make his Football League debut?
Yeah, delighted for him. He's a top lad. He came into us in tough circumstances, thrown right in the mix against Chorley away, and done great for us. You know, but then to keep going into Rotherham under the previous manager, keep his head down, and keep training and be consistent and showing that you're going out, you're performing, and then going in the following day and training. I think under the new manager who's worked with him before, he's obviously seen what he can do and has given his debut in a week. So delighted for him and his family, and hopefully, you know, he looks at this loan as a real platform in what hopefully is a strong career for him.
What are you looking now? You got 3 games left. What is it that you're looking for in them 3?
Again, nothing will change in terms of what we're looking for. We want to win, and we haven't won nowhere near enough. But so we want to win. You know, we've got big fixtures over the bank holiday weekend. You know, and then obviously Buxton away last game. But first things first, we need to see who's right. Ollie Sutton came off early on, looks like a groin, so that doesn't look promising with a couple of weeks left. I'm hoping 1 or 2 who were stood in tracksuits, who were injured, will be available. Devan, even though he was on the bench, he couldn't have went on. Mo Dorrow, Joe Rodwell Grant, you know, these players we need them back. You know, and like, you know, you asked the question, what are we looking for? We're looking for people to stand up and be counted no matter what, and have a bit of pride in the shirt.
Josh Amos made an impact for the half hour he was on. Is he one of them players that could probably only do half an hour at the moment?
Well, he had an injection in his knee and a clear out, another one. You know, so what? There's no half measures with Josh. You know, he's going to give you everything he's got. But one thing, and I know in some ways we haven't got anything to play for in terms of you know, staying up or promotion or playoffs or anything like that, but we've also got to make sure that we keep as strong 11 as we can and be available, and that's why he couldn't start today, just because he's missed so much, and he's had that knee clear a few days ago, and you know, but I'm sure he'll be right for the weekend, and hopefully there'll be 1 or 2 more.